Minute of angle, MOA. It's a common tool experienced shooters use for precision. When Kentucky windage can't get the job done right, it's a tool that you can turn to get your optics on target. Whether you're new to shooting or tuning your rifle to ring steel, MOA is something you can use to get rounds on target fast. Maybe not as fast as MRAD, but that's a video for another day. In this video, we're digging into why MOA is handy for nailing accuracy and how it tracks from barrel to target. All right, so here's the rundown on minute of angle. MOA isn't just about yards or inches. It's an angle we can use to measure precision. I want you to imagine a full 360-degree circle around you. Take one of those degrees from the circle and split it into 60 individual parts. One of those parts is what's called an MOA. Let's run the number. 360 times 60 comes out to 21,600 MOA across the full circle. We're talking about base 60 with this. It's a small slice, sure, but it carries weight for us because each angle is an adjustment to your point of impact. At 100 yards, one MOA works out to roughly an inch. 1.0472 if you're doing PRS or ELR, and you need true MOA because Babylonian mathematics and base 60, but most shooters are just gonna round it to an inch and call it good. Why do we use it? It's a steady way to track how tight your shot groups are without jumping through a bunch of extra hoops. Whether your rifle's brand new or you've been dialing it in for ages, MOA hands you a clear number to adjust off of. That's your jumping off point. And it shows what your build's got when you're lining up that next shot. All right, here's how it looks in action. Your bullet's carving a cone from the muzzle. It starts right at the barrel and widens as it flies. At 100 yards, one MOA gives you an inch. At 500 yards, it's 5 inches. A rifle that's one MOA is gonna hold that spread all the way through. Clean groups, no matter what the range. If you're at 3 MOA, you're looking at 3-inch shot groups at 100 yards or 15 at 500. It's your rifle's scorecard. As long as you have the shooting fundamentals to back it up, your rifle's gonna hold that group all the way down range. So what this looks like is clearly illustrated on this whiteboard here. At 100 yards, you're gonna have a 1-inch shot group. At 200 yards, you're gonna have a 2-inch shot group, 300, 3-inch, so on and so forth. And that's with a 1 MOA rifle. Now say you're shooting a 3 MOA gun. Maybe it's a sub gun, something like that. At 100 yards, you're gonna see a 3-inch shot group. At 200 yards, you're gonna see a 5-inch shot group. At 300 yards, you're gonna see a 9-inch shot group. Math is not my strong suit. But essentially, to get this number, you're gonna take the MOA and you're gonna multiply it by the range, and that's gonna give you the size of your shot group. All right, so some guys, they chase sub MOA. It's under an inch at 100 yards. It's always ideal in a perfect world. But when you throw in wind, bullets slowing down, or bad fundamental marksmanship abilities, and you don't have the skills to keep your group tight, you're wasting your time and money trying to build a sub MOA rifle. Think of MOA as the equipment's foundation. If you're not up to snuff as a shooter, your rifle is never gonna be sub MOA. That doesn't mean you shouldn't try to have a sub MOA rifle. It just means that when you're personally shooting, you're not gonna end up sub MOA, and that's not the rifle's fault, it's yours. So take the time, go to the range, practice, get better. All right, let's zero your rifle. Say your shot's at 2 inches low at 100 yards. Someone doing Kentucky windage might simply choose to hold high on the target and hope for the best. Your scope's turrets, however, can fix that with precision instead of using guesswork. This optic uses half MOA clicks. One click shifts your shot 1/2 inch at 100 yards. So 2 inches low, that's 4 clicks up. Now at 300 yards, 1 MOA equals 3 inches. So a 6-inch miss left needs 4 clicks right. Check your scope. Some use a 1/4 MOA, some use 1 MOA clicks. Just confirm your math by checking the dial at the top. Here's the raw math equation for you. Divide the miss distance in inches by the range in hundreds of yards to get your MOA. Then multiply by 4 for a 1/4 inch, or 2 for a 1/2 inch MOA, or 1 for 1 MOA. It just depends on what your turret cap is telling you you need to do. Red dots bring MOA into play too. The adjustment works the exact same way. Clicks move the dot in MOA steps. A 1 MOA click shifts at an inch at 100 yards, a 1/4 MOA click moves at a 1/4 inch. But there's more. Dot size is measured in MOA as well. A 3 MOA dot covers 3 inches of your target at 100 yards. It's bright, it's bold, it's fast to pick up. A 1 MOA dot covers just 1 inch, crisp, clean, less cluttered. Is your pick on dot size based on what you're shooting? Big dots are gonna shine up close for speed, small dots are gonna hold tight at a distance. Either way, MOA is what lets you tweak it until your shot lands exactly where you want it every single time. That's MOA. It's a unit of angular measurement that ties your aim to your impact. Why? So you can hit your targets. How? Do the math, dial your turrets, size your dots, shoot your groups, get out on the range and try it for yourself. It's gonna work, I promise. Hey, you wanna know how to use your optic and simple mathematics to find out how far away your target is without using an expensive laser rangefinder? I swear the math's easy. Let's get into MRAD, or milliradian, or just mils, depending on who you're talking to at the time. It's one of the best precision shooting tools out there, and for some reason, a lot of shooters are hyper confused about it online. People seem to get lost in the mathematics of the explanation a bit too much, and they let themselves get overwhelmed. I'm here to tell you that it's really not that difficult. Let's break this thing down shotgun style together so we can put it into action out in the field. All right, so what's MRAD? MRAD stands for milliradian, which is a unit of angular measurement. You may have also heard of people calling it mils as a slang term. Think of it like a smaller version of a degree. There's about 17.5 MRADs that make up 1 degree. A radian is an angle that's formed when you take a circle's radius and lay it along the edge of the circle. A milliradian is 1/1000th of that angle. In shooting, MRAD is used in optics with mil-dot reticles, similar to this vortex razor we have on the table. Mil-dots are spaced exactly 1 mil apart, with each dot representing 0.2 mils. Why angles? Unlike inches or centimeters, angles are going to stay consistent at any range. At 100 yards, an MRAD equals 3.6 inches. At 1,000 yards, it's 36 inches. It's the same if you're shooting in metric as well. At 100 meters, an MRAD is equal to 10 centimeters. At 1,000 meters, an MRAD is equal to 100 centimeters or 1 meter. This is a 1 to 1,000 ratio. It makes MRAD perfect for adjusting your aim and measuring and ranging your targets, no matter how far away they are. It's also very simple because the entire thing is measured in base 10 instead of base 60 like MOA. If you're confused, we can simplify this even further. A mil is a mil is a mil. Milliradian means 1/1000th of anything. All right, so one of MRAD's coolest uses is figuring out how far your target is without using a laser rangefinder. All you need is your mil-dot reticle and the target size. Here's a couple of simple examples you can use if you know the target's height. All right, first, if you know your target's height in inches, what you have to do is take the height in inches, multiply that by 27.8, and then divide it by the mils you're seeing in the reticle of the optic. All right, let's try the math. Imagine you're hunting a wild boar in Texas. It's something I used to do a lot when I lived down there. Those boars are about 30 inches tall at the shoulder. Through your scope, you see that it's 2 MRADs tall. You're gonna calculate 30 times 27.7, and you're gonna get 833. You're gonna divide that by 2 MRADs, and that's gonna give you 416.5 yards. That's your distance. We use 27.77 because an inch is 1/36th of a yard. You convert that into a decimal and you get 0.2777. You multiply that by 1,000 and you get 27.77 repeating, of course. All right, so if your target's height is in yards or meters, you're gonna change the math equation a little bit. It's gonna get simpler. You're gonna take the height in yards or meters and you're gonna multiply it by 1,000 and then divide it by the total MRADs you've measured in the optic. For a 1 yard tall target backer at 4 MRADs, you're gonna take 1 times 1,000 divided by 4, 250 yards. So if you take a good look at this, this is actually your MRAD ranging formula for just about every single way that you can do it. So this is something you can come back to later, you can screenshot it, whatever you need to do. Just hold on to this because these are all of the equations that you're gonna need to properly range targets using your mil-dot reticle. For second focal plane scopes, ranging is only gonna work at a specific magnification. Usually this is 10x, but it could be whatever the max power of your optic is. If you have a first focal plane scope, the reticle is gonna scale with the zoom, so it's accurate at any power. Always check your scope's manual to confirm, but this is one of the key benefits to a first focal plane scope. You can learn more about focal planes by checking out our optics bio video that Randy put together in, I think it's this corner. Primarily, mils are used for rapid shooting adjustments. Most optic turrets are going to adjust in 0.1 mil increments. This one adjusts in 0.2. Here's some key figures for you to remember. 1 mil at 100 yards is 3.6 inches. 1 mil at 100 meters is 10 centimeters. This scales regardless of the range. At 1,000 yards, 1 mil is 36 inches. At 1,000 meters, 1 mil is 100 centimeters or simply 1 meter. Once you know the distance to your target, use mil adjustments to adjust for any bullet drop or wind. Say your rifle is zeroed at 100 yards, and your target's at 300 yards. Your bullet drops 7.2 inches at 300 yards, 1 MRAD equals 10.8 inches, so 7.2 inches is about 0.7 MRADs. For wind, if it's pushing your bullet 1 mil right, hold 1 mil dot left. Your reticle should do the work for you. Think of your mil dot reticle as a ruler inside of your optic. Making wind calls is an entire separate video. Think of this just as an example, not the rule. You're not always gonna just make a 1 mil dot holdover, but that's a video for another day. Pro tip, 1 MRAD is equal to roughly 3.5 MOA if you're used to minute of angle. You can convert the dials in your holds using that, but MRAD simplicity is pretty hard to beat, so you shouldn't need to once you get a little bit more experienced. So here's how you're gonna practice. You're gonna hit a spot where you can shoot at longer ranges. Bring targets of known sizes like a 36-inch square and practice ranging with your mil-dot reticle. Cross-check it with a rangefinder to sharpen your skills and make sure that you're getting it right. For hunting, I want you to make a cheat sheet for yourself or pick up a resource like the Mil-Dot Master, which is a great analog computer. I want you to list ranges to common game, say a 22-inch coyote at 1, 2, or 3 MRADs in your reticle, and keep that somewhere for quick reference so you know the range based on the mil-dot size. Keep it somewhere like a quarterback sleeve. Eventually, if you do this enough and you hunt the same kind of game often enough, it's going to become first-hand knowledge for you and you're not even going to think about it. Also, you should train your eye to estimate ranges without an optic. It'll make your MRAD calculations way more reliable. The more you practice this, the better you're going to get at ranging and adjusting on the fly. It's as simple as getting somewhere with a rangefinder and making range estimations to landmarks and then double checking them on the inexpensive laser rangefinder to see how close you were able to get just by using your naked eye. MRAD and MOA is a debate for the ages, guys. At the end of the day, it's shooter preference and you should stick to what you know and to whatever's most common for the group of people you're shooting with. That said, personally, I think Miller-Radian is the best system for long-range shooting due to the versatility of the system.
Hey, I heard you're trying to figure out the difference between MOA and MRAD, but you ended up on a debate on Reddit on the topic. The problem is, it's kind of like choosing between a Ford or a Chevy. Both are gonna get you there, and everyone's got an opinion on which one's better. Hunters are gonna tell you that MOA is the best option. Professional ELR and PRS shooters are gonna tell you that the best option, bar none, is MRAD. Forums are full of debate, and it's easy to get lost in the math of the jargon on this topic. But here's the truth, and it's why I'm still wearing this helmet. Neither is inherently better. They're just different tools, like miles versus kilometers. The real question is, what is gonna fit your shooting style, not which one is better. Now, I've shot both in ELR, on hunting trips, and out on range days. I've seen new shooters nail steel at 800 yards with both systems. It's about understanding how they work more than anything. Today, we're gonna break down what MOA and MRAD both are, how they differ, and the 3 key factors to pick the right one for you. Stick around, this is gonna clear up any confusion and probably start a war down in the comments section. Let's start simple, guys. MOA and MRAD are angular measurements. They're not inches or centimeters. Think of them as slices of a circle around you. MOA, or minute of angle, is 1/60th of a degree. There's 21,600 MOA in a full circle. At 100 yards, this translates to 1 MOA being roughly 1 inch, or 1.047 to be exact. MRAD, Miller-Radian, or simply mils, is 1/1000th of a radian. There's about 17.5 MRADs to make up 1 degree. At 100 yards, 1 MRAD is 3.6 inches. At 1,000 yards, it's 36 inches. If we put it in metric, it's even cleaner. 1 MRAD is 10 centimeters at 100 meters, or 1 meter at 1,000 meters. It's like the metric system of shooting, and it's base 10, it's really straightforward. Guys, there's gonna be a test later, so I hope you memorized all of that. Now, why does this matter? Guys, angles stay consistent no matter the distance. If your shot's off, you're gonna adjust in either MOA or MRAD, and the math is gonna scale perfectly no matter which system you're using. There's no need to convert inches at 700 yards. It's already built into the system that you're using, regardless of which one it is. Now here's where it gets practical. Your scopes, reticle, and turrets use MOA or MRAD to adjust your aim. Think of the reticle as a ruler inside of your optic. For MOA scopes, turrets are often gonna click in 1/4 MOA increments. 1 click is gonna move your shot 1/4 of an inch at 100 yards, 1.25 inches at 500 yards. Say your shot's 2 inches low at 100 yards. Guys, that's 2 MOA or 8 clicks up. The reticles match with hash marks spaced in MOA, so you can hold over to measure your misses directly using the reticle inside of the optic. Now with MRAD scopes, they're usually gonna click in 0.1 mil increments. 1 click is 0.36 inches at 100 yards or 3.6 inches at 1,000. If your shot's 7.2 inches low at 300 yards, where 1 MRAD equals 10.8 inches, that's 0.67 MRADs or 7 clicks up. I hope you're taking notes. Now, mil-dot reticles have dots that are spaced 1 mil apart, making holdovers or ranging a breeze. So what's the catch? Always match your reticle and your turrets. An MOA scope with a mil-dot reticle is gonna be a little bit like driving a car with a speedometer in miles per hour while driving in Canada where all the road signs are in kilometers per hour.
You're gonna be doing math under pressure, and trust me, I learned this the hard way at an ELR course in Wyoming when my spotter was making mill calls while I was shooting an MOA optic. It's not fun, and you don't want to be doing those conversions in your head. So make sure that the two systems match up. So how do MOA and MRAD stack up against each other? Well, first you've got the math. MOA uses fractions like 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, or full MOA clicks. At 600 yards, your dope, or your data on the previous engagement, might be 16.5 MOA or 66 clicks at 1/4 MOA. 4.8 mils is gonna be 48 clicks at 0.1 mil adjustments on your optic. For me personally, MRAD's just cleaner, and it's especially easier when you're under stress. Second, we gotta look at adjustment granularity. 1/4 MOA click, which is 0.25 inches at 100 yards, is gonna be a much finer adjustment than a 0.1 mil click, which is 0.36 inches. At 700 yards, that's 1.75 inches versus 2.5 inches. But in practice, most shooters can't hold that 0.75 inch difference, especially with wind, fatigue, ballistics doing weird things over long ranges. Guys, we don't live in a perfect world. Third, we have to look at the applications. MOA is really big with hunters. It's rooted in traditions. You're thinking inches and American rifles and MOA. MRAD is dominating in PRS though, with over 90% of competitors using it. Why are they using it? Guys, it's faster for ranging and it's faster for wind calls. For example, MRAD's 1:1000 ratio, 1 mil equals 1 meter at 1,000 meters, makes ranging a coyote's height a snap with nothing more than your standard mil-dot reticle. So now you're probably sitting here asking, Josh, which one do I pick? Well, here's your decision framework. Let's go ahead and get down it. First, I want you to check with your crew. If your buddies are hunting with MOA scopes, guys, stick with MOA so you can share the dope and the calls. If you're eyeing PRS or ELR shooting, go MRAD. Most of the competitors and shooters in that space are gonna be speaking in mils, and you'll avoid all of the conversion chaos going on in your head trying to get calls from them. Ask the guys you shoot with the most what they use, and in this case, I want you to follow your friends right off that cliff. Second, guys, you gotta consider your brain. If you love fraction and inches, MOA is gonna be your jam. If you prefer decimals and simplicity, MRAD is what you want. I switched to MRAD for ELR because 0.7 mils is just 7 clicks. There's no mental gymnastics, and I can focus on my shooting fundamentals instead of trying to do math, which is not something I'm very good at. Next, we're gonna look at trends. MRAD's been gaining a ton of ground, even in the hunting world lately, thanks to first focal plane scopes and the cleaner math. But MOA's still got a strong ground game. For example, Vortex says they're still selling more MOA optics than anything else. The trends are gonna dictate what your future shooting friends might already be using, so future-proof your purchase if you're in the market for an optic right now, and make sure you're looking at the trends and your friends. Optics aren't cheap, so make sure you get this right on the first try. Now, there's no wrong choice, but whatever you do, make sure you match your reticle to your turrets. It is possible, I'm not joking, to get a mil-dot reticle with MOA turrets. Avoid this for your own sanity. Also practice. Neither of these systems is gonna help you if your fundamental marksmanship abilities still need a ton of work. Get out to the range and go train. MOA versus MRAD. It's not about which one is better, it's about which one is better for you as an individual. MOA is precise, it's traditional, and it's hunter friendly. MRAD is fast, it's modern, and it's PRS and ELR ready. I want you to pick which one works best with your shooting style, your brain, and matches your gear. Then go hit the range. Tight groups are gonna come from practice. They're not gonna come from debates in the comment section of this YouTube video or the Sniper's Hide forums. They're gonna come from you getting out onto the range and practicing your fundamental marksmanship abilities and actually knowing how to use the system that you've chosen. If you're still unsure about what optic you need to go with, check out this video on optics from Randy.